JAMB 2019 English Language Question 1 to 10. The question says, the passage below has gaps numbered 1 to 10. Immediately following each gap, 4 options are provided. Choose the most appropriate option for each gap. The passage below contains questions numbered 1 to 10 with their various options. So while we are reading the passage, we'll also be supplying the answers from the options that have been given for each numbers. So let us proceed. The passage says, the economic miracle of the so-called Asian tigers was subject to much debate and analysis in the early 1990s among economists. There was basically 2 schools of dash. The options given for this question are A. Reasoning, B. Ideas, C. Practice, and D. Thought. To complete or fill in this gap, numbered 1, the correct answer is D. Thought. This is because school of thought is a concept that has to do with the logic and ideologies of a group of individuals or scholars on a particular phenomenon. So it is not reasoning, ideas, or practice. It is school of thought. It therefore means that the answer to number 1, or the option that fills in the gap numbered 1, is D. Thought. Moving further in the passage, it says, 1. That the Asian tigers' economic miracle was a case of miracles beyond the free market, and so to repeat such miracles or something near it, do not let the dash. That is number 2 question. The options given are A. Economy, B. Structure, C. Miracle, and D. Analysis. The answer to this question is A. Economy. This is because the passage is based on the miracles of Asian tigers' economy, not their structure. So the correct answer to this question, or the correct answer that fills in the gap number 2, is A. Economy. Moving further, the passage says, do not leave the economy to the invisible hands of the free market, with its sometimes profoundly antisocial overtones. There was a place for, and indeed a greater virtue in state dash. This is the number 3 question. To fill in the gap number 3, the answer is B. Intervention. This is because state intervention refers to the actions carried out by state bodies, such as the police, the army, the INEC, etc., to prevent or stop an event from taking place. In other words, the state intervenes in national matters. So the correct answer, like I said earlier to this question, is B. Intervention. Moving further, state intervention, full stop. The other group, dash. This is question 4. The options given to fill in this gap are A. Synthesize, B. Analyze, C. Believed, and D. Recommended. The answer to this question is D. Recommended. This is because the second school of thought recommends or recommended a certain idea to the issue in the passage. Since the first school of thought has already recommended or given a certain idea, the second school of thought also recommends another one to the issue in the passage. Moving further, that it was not so much a miracle that was either beyond the free market, or for that matter one induced by the equally unpredictable, even if visible hands of politicians and policy. Dash. This gap is numbered 5 and is the 5th question. The options given to fill in this gap are A. Deciders, B. Masters, C. Executors, D. Makers. The correct answer to this question is D. Makers. This is because policies are plans of actions that are made by an administrative body concerning an issue. Policies are made by policy makers, also known as the legislature in government. Moving further, the Asian dash. This gap is numbered 6, the 6th question, and the options given are A. Experience, B. Practice, C. Logic, D. Method. The correct answer to this question, or the correct answer that fills in this gap, is A. Experience. This is because the passage is based on the events that led to calling the Asian tigers' economy a miracle. And as such, events are experienced. So the correct answer to this question, or the correct option that fills in this gap, is A. Experience. Moving further, the Asian experience was rather one of a cultural phenomenon, blending with good policies to produce a delightfully desirable spectacle of progress and dash. This gap is numbered 7, the 7th question, and the options given are A. Purpose, B. Affluence, C. Prospect, and D. Prosperity. The correct answer to this question, or the correct option that fills in this gap, is D, prosperity. This is because the concept of progress goes with that of prosperity. When you make progress in something, prosperity is sure to follow. So prosperity is a state of being successful, especially financially. Prosperity is synonymous to affluence. So in any statement that you make or you've heard so far, it is usually progress and prosperity, or success and prosperity. But in this case, the correct option that fills in this gap is D, prosperity, like I said earlier. Moving further, the concern of the economist was how to safely dash. Question 8. The options given to fill in this gap are A, prescribe, B, gauge, C, stimulate, and D, orientate. The correct answer to this question is D, orientate. This is because to orientate means to adjust or align something in a new or different way. So to orientate here means to adjust and align the already existing Asian tiger's economic miracle to benefit other countries' economies. Moving further, and then apply the Asian prescription to replicate such man-made miracles in many other countries of the world enduring the dash. This gap is numbered 9, and the options given to fill in this gap are A, anger, B, risk, C, throws, D, punishment. The correct answer to this question is B, risk. This is because risk means to be in danger of something unpleasant or harmful. It is a potential for uncontrolled loss of something of value. The term risk here refers to the potential danger of enduring poverty. Moving further, the risk of unrelenting dash. This gap is number 10, and the options given to fill in these gaps are A, momentous, B, compelling, C, scorching, and D, aggravating poverty. The correct answer or option that fills in this gap is C, scorching. This is because the word scorching is used to emphasize how strong or powerful something is. In this case, it is used to emphasize how strong and powerful poverty is in this passage. So having filled in all the gaps, this is what the passage is supposed to look and sound like. The economic miracle of the so-called Asian tigers was subject to much debate and analysis in the early 1990s among economists. There was basically two schools of thought. One, that the Asian tiger's economic miracle was a case of miracles beyond the free market, and so to repeat such miracles or something near it do not leave the economy to the invisible hands of the free market, with its sometimes profoundly antisocial overtone. There was a place for, and indeed a greater virtue in state intervention. The other group recommended that it was not so much a miracle that was either beyond the free market, or for that matter, one induced by the equally unpredictable, even if visible hands of politicians and policymakers. The Asian experience was rather one of cultural phenomenon blending with good policies to produce a delightfully desirable spectacle of progress and prosperity. The concern of the economics was how to safely reorientate and then apply the Asian prescription to replicate such man-made miracles in many other countries of the world, enduring the risk of unrelenting and scorching poverty. So those are the answers for questions number 1 to 10 of JAMB 2019 English language.